Okay, what is up, everyone, ladies and gents? It's episode 356. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Just do this so I don't forget.
Hit the record button.
Not yet. Boom. All right. Ready?
Ready.
Welcome, what is up? Welcome to episode 356 of the Center Ring Esports podcast presented by Philly Esports. And this is going to be the best episode ever because we have a good dude of the week, back-to-back good dudes of the week. Positivity Month never ends with good dudes of the week. Yikes of the week. VCT Berlin recap thus far. We know some teams that have made it, some teams that are going home. We'll discuss, as well as ESL Pro League 14? Season 14, I believe it was, wrapped up. And so the Navi era has begun. Also some e-news to get to as well to end the show. But before we get to any of that, let's tell you about some Philly esports. If you listen to the podcast long enough, you already know about them. So I won't dive too far into details. But for those who are just joining the podcast, you should know that they are the one of the good dudes. With the good dudes of the week, they're a good dude every week. Started out as grassroots. They've now branched to more nationally based online events. So you can check them out, phillyesports.net. They actually have a tournament coming up this weekend. Signups are still available. This is a $2,000 prize pool, 3v3 Rocket League event. So go ahead, get your two buddies, sign up. Signups are free, so there's no excuse. If you are a Rocket Leaguer and you feel like you have the gumption to make it in the big leagues, guess what? This is where you start out. We get asked all the time, Anuj, how do we get into esports? This is it. This is like the times of a pro league just calling you because you're top of the in-game leaderboard is kind of done. Even being a top streamer, can't really do it if you want to be a professional gamer. You have to start out in these smaller events, but still good events, good exposure. So that's what Philly Esports has to offer. Go to phillyesports.net, sign up for the Rocket League event. In October, in less than a month, they have a 5v5 Valorant event as well, sponsored by the U.S. Army. phillyesports.net.
This is Sinatra, and you are listening to The Center Ring.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome. Welcome back to another edition of The Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast. And yes, this is going to be the best episode ever. Episode 356 coming to you live and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date 9/14/21, the time 9:04 p.m. Central Time. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. Be caught up to date with show news and whatever else we tweet out. Also join our Discord. The link is in the description of said Twitter account. And be a part of that conversation. My name is Tim. Hello. I'll be your captain for this journey into esports, but alongside me, as always, is my best friend, my brown friend. It's Anuj. What's up?
Dude, these one episode a week are going to keep us pretty busy, it looks like. It's like now we're picking between topics to throw on here.
Lots. Yeah, going from...
A lot of esports this weekend. A lot of esports news, too. It wasn't just like the games that were riveting, right? Like just looking at the Halo countdown, which we know we're saving for another episode, but there was just like so much going on this weekend when it came to esports.
I miss doing 2 shows a week. I don't necessarily miss having another night that we have to do a show. But, yeah, there's a lot to discuss. I remember when we started doing 2 shows and we were like, man, is there enough news to discuss? There's always news to discuss in esports. Especially when you're the #1 esports podcast that covers all of esports and not just one shtick. We're not just a one-stop shop for Valorant or whatnot. We're a one-stop shop for it all, Anuj. All of it. We are the experts, as some people say. Not everyone. Definitely not everyone. We have heard from others that think otherwise. But I would like to think we know something.
We know a little something.
We know a little something, something. First off, can I get some GGs in the chat? Anuj, I hear you broke your computer chair. Congratulations.
I did. Thank you. I'm just duct taped together at the moment. It was the armrest on the chair snapped off, and don't know how the hell that happened. I was just leaning on it, and screw popped out. And it's one of those screws that's like I have to take the whole casing off, and I can't take off the piece that I need to. So I don't know. I've told myself I need a new chair anyway. So we are currently hunting. I appreciate all the recommendations I got on Twitter. Thank you guys for sending me a bunch of links. I miss the days of just walking into a store and like being able to just sit down in a bunch of chairs and
Does like
kind of
Office
take my.
Depot not do that?
They do, but it's the ones that I'm looking at. Like they're not sold. It's like they're online
Right.
purchases, So it's like it feels weird to buy a chair that way for me. But
I
I
think
might have to.
don't quote me on this. I think there's a chair store somewhere in Las Colinas in that area. That's like an office chair store, like it's specifically meant to go and like, for like if you're buying chairs for like an office building. But I think that's where like my wife, when she worked over there, they had her go and test out all these chairs for what chair she wants.
Yeah,
So
I need to do something. I feel like I need to do something like that. But yeah, this one's falling apart sadly.
well,
So
I'm like I said, we're not sponsored by these companies that we're sitting on right now. So I can tell you these gaming chairs are overrated.
very much so. Like we said it like 100 times, but we'll say it again. It's just they're meant for show. Like they're literally that's it. It's like a decorative piece more than anything. It's looks like it's part of your stream at this point
The
because you see
only
them behind
the
everyone.
only reason I like it is so like when I set up my sim racing stuff, like the racing wheel and everything, I can like really adjust the angle to like
Yeah,
that's
well,
fine.
it does feel like you're sitting in a sim racing chair
Right.
24/7. Though is a problem, right?
It's just after a while it just you
Not
kind
great for
of
posture.
yeah,
Not
it
great
does
for
not help with posture. Your ass kind of goes numb midway through. So I'm counting down the days for this thing to break.
I can help you.
Just come on over and lean to the left a little bit for me. I would appreciate it. Would you like to start with our good dude of the week since we just have one?
Let's do it. Yeah. So this week it was a pretty interesting story, Tim, because I was saw the announcements as you've seen recently. 100 Thieves are signing a ton of creators. I mean, you kind of just see them. It makes sense for kind of the way their branding is and all that to get a bunch of big name creators on. They just announced a new one, Nice Wig, and plays a ton of Apex Legends. Kind of just a goat at FPS, like just really good. Cool personality. Anyways, I didn't know who this guy was, and I was kind of curious as to how he got discovered because he had just blown up. Turns out he had got a random host from Dizzy who was formerly on NRG, then kind of stepped away, but still regarded as, you know, one of the best pug players for Apex Legends. Threw him a host when Dizzy was on like kind of his high time, and this guy has ran with it and built his channel off of it, grown that way. And so huge props to Dizzy because those hosts like that. I mean, it's such an easy thing for people to do to help find smaller creators, and it's not done 90% of the time, I would say, at least, but we've seen some really cool stories come from it. It's great to see when one of them has like a real success story behind it, like it does for Nice Wig. So yeah, good dude of the week goes to Dizzy for throwing that generous host out.
Anytime I'm watching like a big streamer, which I don't really watch streams very often nowadays, kids don't really like Summit as much as I do. Go figure. But they'll always like throw it to a host sometimes when they get off, and I always try to stick around. Like I don't want to be that guy where it's like I'm supporting this streamer, he throws it to a host or a raid, and then like I bounce,
Yeah, I always watch for at least a couple minutes, right? Like most of the time when they're done, it's like I'm probably moving on to something
Right.
else. So I
I
don't get it.
always
It's not like I'm
I
catching
always
Ender
try to
streams
stick
that
around.
often, but I'll try and watch too. Yeah,
Just imagine if someone did that with us, you know? I would like to think we would return the favor.
that'd be pretty insane. Yeah, no, that's like, I mean, I've seen some really cool videos on it, and it's always like it gives you the same kind of smile when you see like the military vet surprise the family members. That
Bro,
same kind of excitement, reaction, and emotions that get you. It's like,
I do
oh,
not
that's cool.
watch. I do not watch surprise military man comes home to surprise family videos anymore.
No, I like
I
them. Gives you like that little shot of
emotionally I cannot handle it.
yeah.
I might be a grown ass man, and under this rock solid figure of mine, I'm a big baby. I'm a baby when it comes to that stuff. Yikes of the week, Anuj. I will start off with mine. Kind of all clothing related, because I'm even going to throw this one in here at you. Optic phase. Okay. So first one, I'll start with this one, the one that I just typed in. And I don't even know, did we throw this in E-News that I missed it?
No.
Okay. Optic Phase has been showing out, you know, first off, you know them. Optic Gaming, FaZe Clan. Two bitter rivals up until this point have kind of released, not officially, but like in videos and screenshots, their big collab that everyone was like, I feel like you're either one way or the other. You either think it's awesome and you can't wait to buy the merch, or you're like us where we're like, this is the dumbest thing we've ever seen since forever in competitive sports. Like this,
two rivals.
this
kinda coming
breaks
together.
every single rule that I have ever been taught in sports. Anyway, so they have some screenshots, which I tweeted out on my personal Twitter at Pirate Mushroom if you want to check it out, of some of the merch that they're coming out with. It looks awful.
That did help, right? Like when you saw it. So, one thing I want to mention is the collab. We only look at things from an esports point of view, right? Like those are the lenses that we have on. So we look at them as sports rivals. The bigger picture behind both of these orgs, though, are
Is
more
they like
content
money.
creation. Well, they like money,
That's what
but
this
it's
this
the
what this is about.
content creation, kind of the branding behind both of them. Like FaZe is like a culture brand at this point, right? Like it's a gaming brand, but not called. They're not like an esports brand in that sense. They are like a gaming brand at this point, and so like them collabing. The more I thought about it, I was like, well, they're doing it from not for us esports fans that are cheering for one of these teams in Call of
Yeah,
Duty
but
or
what
whatever.
Optic fan is a fan? They're still. I
Like they
still
like
don't buy it.
they think Hex is cool, right?
Like
Or they like
I
the
could
the
see it on the
stream
FaZe
teams that they
side,
have, the summertime team or
but
whatever.
they just started as esports. That's why you're a fan of Optic,
I
was
know, I
because
know.
of Call of Duty. And people will be like, no, they started as a sniper trick shot channel. I know the startup of Optic. Trust me. I have their book that was written by a third grader. Okay. I've read it, powered through it. I know the story. But for what I concern is they got their popularity through the competitive side of the
They
org,
did.
which was
I'm
the
just saying
teams
where
winning.
they're at now is
Yeah.
also like we're FaZe especially,
Sacrilege.
right?
You'll never convince me that this collab should happen. It's sacrilege in everything that I know of.
Look, the best part was looking at the merch. It was like, oh my god, like this is pretty hideous.
It
Like this
looks
I was kind of
terrible.
hoping for some really like badass stuff, and honestly, then maybe as like a collector's piece, it might have interested me, right? But I looked at the merch and I was like, wow, this looks like I'm looking at like a '90s metal punk kind of.
It
I don't know,
it was
I
such
know
a
they
give
did
up.
the
It was such a
Matrix thing with the red pill, green
it
pill.
was such a low effort for when I think of, and although like I'm talking shit on both these orgs that I often do talk shit about, don't get it twisted. I think Hex is a genius when it comes to marketing and selling himself, and he could sell, what's the saying? They could sell a bottle of water to a fish. Is that a saying? Did I make
I don't
that
know.
up?
That sounds good though.
You get what I'm saying, right? He could do that. And then you have FaZe, which is just this global icon of an org at this point.
Yeah.
And then they come up with this. It doesn't add up.
Yeah, expectations were higher, but there's gonna be they're gonna be sold out day one.
You know it. You
So
know.
that's just the
They'll
way it is.
they'll
But
they'll they'll have the last laugh. That's for sure.
we take the rose-colored glasses off, and you look at that apparel, and you're like, not that appealing.
No, and that's what
Not
I have to imagine they're Russian bots on Twitter when they're like, I can't wait to get this, and I'm like, really? Really? Like, do you think Hex is gonna see this tweet and invite you over to his house to hang out? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I've been fans of things that I've bought that I haven't touched because I thought the shirt was ugly, but I want to support a friend. So I buy the shirt and then it goes right into my closet in the back in a wad that I'll never touch again. That looks like that's what this would be.
yeah. I mean, it looks like it's just for a collector's piece.
Yeah. Yeah. Big yikes. Big yikes for me. I'll do my next yikes and then you can do yours. My other yikes was I just saw this earlier today. And I honestly thought it was a joke, Anuj. I honestly almost bought these thinking it was a joke, and eventually the website would say, haha, we got you. But Razer, I am a Razer fanboy, you know this. I have the Razer Death Adder, have had it since version 1, and I don't think I'll ever use another mouse. It's the greatest mouse in the world. But they're also known for like just being the stereotypical like gamer peripheral. Like if someone's going to make fun of something, it's going to be with Razer. They created, I don't know what the official name of them is. I can only describe them as
the gaming finger sleeve.
The gaming finger sleeve. I like to call it the Razer finger condoms because they're essentially little socks that you put on your thumb and pointer fingers. So then you can play mobile games with your fingers staying warm, but also smooth on the screen.
Yeah, so you don't get any like sweat slippage or any. It's funny because this is definitely a yikes because it looks funny.
And I'm not knocking the application of it because if I was a serious mobile gamer, first off, I don't have sweaty hands. When I play games, these hands stay silky smooth. Like I don't have the problem of sweaty hands. It just doesn't, I cannot relate to that. But this looks ridiculous.
It looks absolutely ridiculous. I'm looking at the pictures right now and I can't help but laugh looking at it, but I understand it.
I get it.
At the same time. I get it. Like it's probably a pretty genius idea. Like this will be the next wave of marketing for, your mobile gamers, which as we know, that audience is the biggest that there is. So
I almost bought them. They're $10, so they're cheap enough for a practical thing for me to buy just to joke about having. But at the same time with shipping, it was like $20, and I'm like, that tips it over.
Maybe we go on it together.
I just
get
split
it to one house. Yeah.
See,
I am very curious.
Looks ridiculous.
I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh Lord, like that's where we're at. But that's where we're at.
I think maybe
it
just
kind of makes sense.
Create a gaming glove or something that looks a little bit more discreet.
I mean, but like a glove would be even more like. At least this is discreet. It's only on your thumbs, right?
But this looks weird. We're in COVID times. People wear gloves. If you're in the winter, you're wearing gloves.
Yeah. You can get away with it, I guess.
People wear gloves. People don't wear finger socks.
You wouldn't want a glove on though if it was like also 95 degrees outside. Like this is a little bit more sensible for anytime kind of use.
Wolf says most COD mobile YouTubers have either their own brand or sponsored finger sleeves. So maybe we're behind the curve.
We're behind the curve when it comes to mobile gaming. Like we've never,
I'm Googling this.
We're not even on the curve when it comes to mobile gaming.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some of these look like what they wear in like the NBA, but finger sleeves, I guess, is like definitely. No, yeah, they definitely have them. This is like exactly like what Razer's is, but not Razer. I mean, hey, if there's a market out there, it's going to be made, but this is nuts. It's looks crazy. This is what I would have to imagine someone who doesn't know esports would see someone in esports using and immediately laugh
Like
at it.
it would be in some sort of gamer movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough, but I'm like I said, I'm sure it works. It just looks funny as hell.
Yeah, of course. I'm not knocking the application of it. I'm sure it works. I'm sure it serves its purpose, but it does look goofy. Does look goofy. All right, what is your yikes?
All right, we're staying in the clothing realm, Tim. I don't know if you. I'm sure you did watch um, the Berlin Major that's
I've
going
heard
on
of
right
it.
now,
I have
and
heard of
so
it.
big event. It's pretty big event for Valorant, LAN event, second time, and so that is going on right now. I tune in, and I'm not going to be too overly critical here because again, this is a lot going to be. This is probably going to be more
I
boomerish.
was about to say boomer alert. Like this is probably the biggest boomer opinion we've ever had on the show.
It's very much a boomer opinion, so I'm not going to come in with like fangs out and just tear them apart. But there was what I thought was like a lack of professional attire when it comes to what I would expect hosts or analysts to be wearing.
Like
And
we're losing so many cool. I don't know how many cool points we had, but we're losing all of them.
it looks like everybody just went and shopped at H&M right before the event started and got like some cool streetwear clothes and then came onto the set with it,
It
you know?
looks like they swapped clothes out with the homeless population right before going on
Like
air.
a ton of unbuttoned flannels with tees underneath and it's just I kind of expected a little bit more of a professional kind of like presentation when it came to it. So, look, I know this is boomerish.
It's
I know
very
it. I
boomer.
know
Look,
it. I
and I
hear
hate
it. Like I
myself
hear
for it.
myself saying it out loud, and I'm like, this was probably not the best.
And I'm not a
topic.
suit and tie guy. Like I am a
I know I
relaxed guy.
appreciate the casual wear. I don't even mind it most of the time. I just think for your like second
Look,
major
yeah.
style event, I was kind of hoping not like I said, it doesn't affect my experience of the actual event. But when I saw them, I even messaged Tim and I was like, what is this? Like everybody's like in streetwear
Like
clothes. Looks like they're
the one dude is wearing I'm looking at this picture right now. This shirt, first off, has to be like 3 sizes too big, unless it's a sweater that he has the sleeves rolled up on. But it has like holes in it. I am looking at this man casting a Masters event for the top esports going on right now, and he's wearing a shirt with holes in it. Like
I
if
saw
I
one
was
wearing like a green jumpsuit.
if I was running this event, you wouldn't get your ass through the door. I'd be like, "Did you forget something?"
I would be like, you must be wearing that before the show. Like,
right? Like, are you
right now, and you're
did,
gonna change when you get here.
did you have someone bringing you a change of clothes?
It was
What's
just funny.
going
Like
on?
I saw it, and I saw it multiple times. It wasn't like a 1 day thing. Like it was almost like it was coordinated.
If it's like a look, even for like a qualifier event, sure, right? But this is a Masters event. You're at the venue that it's being played at. That Riot, to me, is clear. I mean, first off, the stage. We can just segue kind of into general Berlin talk if you want right now.
Yeah, so let's go. So we'll move into Berlin here.
The stage, it needs to be mandatory. I will write it in my blood to make it mandatory that when we get to like a Masters level event in any type of esports, I need my floor made of TVs. Like how they have like the video.
It's really cool.
I don't even know what to call it, but there's like your floor is a giant video screen.
The only thing that sucks is like everything that we're seeing for this is really not. I mean, they're gonna. I love the shit talking that's going on back and forth too. Like okay, how
of course.
it's neat to see them on a stage being able to yell at one another. That can't happen once we go back to like proper land though, because you're not gonna have. You're gonna have to have some sort of soundproof booths. It's gonna be too loud. So, but the stage, you're right, is just absolutely gorgeous the way they've done it. It Riot is just good at that. Like they do a great job with worlds and all that. Like it's always a good presentation. So yeah, I mean, this is no different.
And
this
then
looks really good. And
to bring it back though, the stage, the presentation looks amazing, and yet I'm looking at dudes that look like they just rolled out of bed. Like this guy's got like a hoodie on. Like it's like what we are wearing.
Every day I saw them and I was like, man, like a lot of y'all are just not
And
I want the launder's red suit. You know what I'm saying?
yes,
Like,
look.
that's, like, getting cool, but, like, keeping it classy, you
And
know?
I'm not
Like,
even saying like you need to wear a suit and a tie, but
no.
like, hey, like put on a sports jacket, put on a button up and button it up for God's sake. You are broadcasting the highest level of gaming right now at one of the top events. I just it's, not to point fingers, but we've been to a wedding before where Nuge and I, you would have thought we were CEOs of this wedding the way we dressed compared, like we missed the memo at one point
They
because
should have wrote it in the invitation.
we, we went to this wedding and I never felt this way before dressing nice, but I felt so stupid wearing a suit.
Like, we took off our ties.
Like
We were like, "Yeah,
we
this is not
pulled
gonna
up,
work."
looked around and said, "Oh, it's not one of those types of weddings." We had to get as casual as we could while wearing a suit. But that's not their problem here at VCT Berlin, because these dudes I don't even think brought a button up with them. So
No.
again, I'm aware that this makes me sound super boomer, and I'm aware it makes me sound super uncool. But you know what? We're dads now. We are uncool. That's just part of it. I just think you should dress a little bit presentable. Just a little
Agreed.
bit. I'm not even asking for a lot here. It doesn't need to be like a tailored suit. Just something. At least a collared shirt I would have been happy with. But whatever. I digress. I'm getting off my soapbox about looking presentable. But for real, riot. These people should not be allowed in the building if they have holes in their shirts.
No.
Speaking of, though, the building, like we said, the presentation on stream from the production side of it, from the stadium, absolutely love it. Love that the players are having fun with it. I do think some of the shit talking is real, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think
I
it's
I
all
don't
for fun and games. I think some of it's fun and games, but I think some of it's real.
I mean, I think the NAEU stuff is kinda heating up a little bit more this time, partially because there's more teams involved on both
Mm-hmm.
sides, and, we're kind of in the thick of it now, and the way everyone was talking is, well, hey, you also got the best representation from EU, having Ascend, having Gambit, like, these are the top premier teams at the moment, and, yeah, like, it definitely feels like the tension is real. You can see some teams enjoying it more than others. Um, but they know what's on the line. Like, there's a lot riding on not only just where these placements get you going forward, but like reputation wise, like there's just a lot on the line right now.
So we have, and it's not all set in stone on who's moving on to the bracket stage, the playoffs, but we do have a good idea as far as the teams that are making it. So right now, our predictions were, just to kind of recap here. In short, Zeta Division was going to be the only non-NA and EU team that makes it to playoffs. That was both of our predictions, unplanned. We don't discuss predictions prior to the show. It just happened to work out that way with what we were thinking. Not terrible. So far, so good, I'd say, overall. Zeta Division is out, so that's wrong. Group B, you have Team Envy making it through, going 2-0. I think, apart from Sentinels, Envy is looking ridiculously strong right now.
Yeah, Envy looks really good. And when it came to Group B, we both also mentioned that second slot was pretty open in that group. Like
Mm-hmm.
Envy was kind of the prime time favorite. We both thought Zeta would go through.
I thought
The
they were at least going to win a match. I was kind of, maybe I just got caught up in the hype with Zeta Division because of, I know Twitter liked them a lot, but even though I said on the preview show, Nuge, that they spent too much time worrying about dramatic photos in their hair, then maybe they should spend time practicing. And I was right. Like, some people called me a jerk for saying that. No, I was right. They went 0-2. So clearly, less time worrying about dramatic anime pictures, more time practicing.
Yeah, and you can see on the flip side, one of their opponents here, Envy, you're getting a team that looks like they're dialed in. Like you're getting Yay performing at godlike level, right? He's kind of been carrying this crew from a fragging standpoint in their first two matches. They haven't dropped a map as of yet, and they played. Crew was here last time,
Right.
right?
They
This is
have
not their.
experience.
Yeah, they have experience at this stage. They look better. They got a win this time. They're also going to be playing in the lower bracket, decider match, I guess you could say, coming up here tomorrow, I believe, for them. And so they still have a
Yeah.
chance to advance. But Envy has made it look pretty easy.
Well, they play so aggressive, and we knew that going into it. We knew Envy plays very aggressive. The way Ye plays Jet, he's even said it, like he just plays super fast, super intense, super aggressive. And I don't know if it's because they're in a group that is with less experienced team with Keyed Stars and Zeta and even Crew. Like, yes, they've been there, but they're not like I would say on an NA Envy level, right? So maybe that's playing into Envy's hand on playing so aggressive, right? They can kind of, if they catch these less skilled teams off guard, catch you on your back foot on defense, right? They can really punish you and capitalize on that. I think we're seeing that with Envy, but still, I feel like they are just playing extra fast.
Yeah, I mean, again, Ye gives them the ability to do that especially when he's sitting there just playing on Jet. Like he's so comfortable in that entry role and knowing kind of where to. It's not like he entries, causes chaos, and doesn't come out with kills. He's entering, fragging, clutching up rounds, putting up massive ADR numbers. Like he's doing a little bit of everything for him. And again, we've credited FNS throughout, since his arrival on Envy, and I'm going to continue to do so because he's having to play with kind of new players, yet in a winning team, and that doesn't happen that often. Like, right, Envy's had a couple of iterations of their team now before they got to this point with Ye and Marv joining the roster. So he's managed to move them along really nicely when we both thought there would be a little bit of a slip up, adding a new player right before this event. So credit to them. They continue to shine. They're took Group B already. That's confirmed. And the decider match is going to be a hell of a match. Like I think Vivo Keed has looked really good. Like they did give Envy some trouble in their matchups. I think one of the games went to overtime, and Envy had to scrap late to get back into that game. And then, again, Crew, as we mentioned, a returning team. And what we've seen so far, to me, Tim, is everyone's a little bit closer in skill than we had before. Like it's not these big gaps kind of across the board, at least not everywhere.
Yeah, no, and I think it's largely in the fact due to part because, like you said, some of these teams are returning, but even the non-returning teams, like the newer teams here, they have had more time to get a sense of it, right? Because before with Iceland, it was not only just like, oh, what's going to happen with NAEU and all these regions coming together, but it was like, okay, what are these metas even going to be? Right? It's
Yeah.
like before everyone thought they had the best meta going in because there wasn't an established we're better than you, right? Like even before Iceland, though no one thought it, I guess the possibility was there that Latin America was just going to blow everyone's minds away with these metas that we thought was a joke, but secretly was like dominant, right? Didn't happen, but the possibility, I guess, was there. Now we've kind of know, okay, follow NA, follow EU, maybe mix it up a little bit here and there, but we kind of have the recipe.
For the most part, you have the recipe
Yeah.
of what needs to be done to
You can tweak it up for your little, flavor of the town, but for the most part, we have the recipe.
And we've also had like agents and maps added since then, right? So that
Yeah.
also kind of diversifies the pool a little bit, more options. Um, yeah, obviously Astra has become a huge part of the meta for teams that have somebody that can play her really well. We've seen Viper introduced into the meta. Obviously, Sky, being in the meta
KO.
now. Yeah, I mean, there's like a handful of new characters since Iceland that have also changed the game, and so what we are seeing is some similar results, though, Tim. As much as we say change has happened, we are seeing for the most part, the top teams kind of roll through this, and we can maybe hop over to Group A because that's the one where I think we are all kind of sitting at the edge of our seat a little bit. Tim, in this group, this was the group of death, as we said early on, right? You had Ascend, number one EU team. You had Supermassive, which was the Turkey, super team that was out there. Vision Strikers, the team that held the longest running win streak in Valorant up to this point. And then you had Paper Rex, and again, they have like Forsaken's. His brother played. He has esports pedigree, and he's also considered a very good player. And so this was a good group here. We've had our first major upset, and I would consider this a major upset. Although we just said Vision Strikers has the longest running win streak to date, not leading into this, but at any point in Valorant's history, they did take a 2-0 victory, Tim, over Ascend, putting Ascend in a decider match to make it through here.
Yeah, I think it's. Yeah, I don't think you're crazy to say it's an upset. I thought it's definitely Ascend was the number one EU team going in. Now the hype for whatever reason is with G2, which we'll get into a second because I don't necessarily understand the hype and the storylines people are trying to make about G2, but we'll get to that when we get to Group D. But I thought Ascend, we said this last week that the issue with this group is Ascend and Supermassive were playing each other first, right? So we even said it then. The issue is although we thought both of them were going to make it through, one of them is going to have to start with an L. So that was already said. That was already a given. What I was not anticipating, though, was Ascend losing to Vision Strikers. Because, albeit, yeah, you've had the world record for longest streak and everything like that, I just don't think the talent in Korea is as deep as it is in EU or NA. So for me to hear like that type of streak, it's like, okay, yeah, obviously that's impressive. I'll give you that.
It's just not, you don't think of it as deep of a pool, so they're probably playing a lot of lower tier teams and maybe NA would be playing as you get deeper into it, right?
Yeah,
Like the
it's
top
because
50s are
you're
going to look
number
different.
one in Korea. So where does that put you on a global rank, right?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer off the top of my head, but maybe top 10, right? Maybe towards the bottom of a top 10 in that sense. If you're Vision Strikers globally, I could probably think of teams that I would at least for now, obviously, all things pending with this event, right? Because this is their kind of
Well, and
awakening
look,
to international play.
in Vision Strikers' first match against Paper Rex, it wasn't an easy win for them. They 2-0'd it, so they didn't drop a map, but you had a 13-9, 13-11 finish. Like both maps were very close. They were looked at as to be the superior team in that game, and yet they didn't have it wasn't an easy game, right? They had to fight for it throughout. And Ascend, coming off of the 2-0 against Supermassive, where they looked really good and they really looked pretty dominating in that matchup. I thought it was like a gimme that they were going to make it through, and CNED still was the top fragger in both of their maps, I believe, against Strikers, but they did not have anybody else step up. And really, even CNED was good in some rounds, but as a whole throughout that matchup, it wasn't like the level of play that we're used to seeing from them. So at this point, they are fighting for their lives. They're going to be going up against either Supermassive again and have to, win it back to back against the same team, which we know is always challenging anytime you got to play a team that you just beat. Like they're sometimes a little bit more hungry in that scenario. Or Paper Rex, which, that would be I think a surprise in this situation, but could happen. So one way or the other, one of the EU teams is getting knocked out of Group A. We'll be able to talk about that next episode, but we have a decider coming up for that group is actually going to be on the 16th, so
Yeah.
this Thursday.
Yeah. So they're the one group that is a game behind. Like every other group has their team, the one team eliminated. So I think
Yeah.
for them, we'll pretty much know. Let me just click through this decider. Okay, so the decider for Group C will also be on the 16th. So we'll have 2 decider matches then. So with that being said, let's go over to said Group C with 100 Thieves, Gambit, Crazy Raccoons, Haven Liberty. So this one here, Haven Liberty, 0-2, they're the first ones eliminated. I don't think to anyone's surprise. I don't think we were really giving them a chance. I know, were they the ones that were Did you say a fun fact about them last episode? Am I crazy?
Haven Liberty. Let me see what I have in my notes here.
I might be thinking Zeta now that I'm thinking about it out loud.
Yeah, no, I don't have
Okay.
anything for them.
So no one's surprised. I don't think anyone really thought they were going to move on. And now you have 100 Thieves, which, albeit I thought they were going to move on, a 2-0 is a little shocking to me. 100 Thieves was the one NA team that I kind of was questionable going into this, just from a consistency standpoint. Like, because they've always been the team with high expectations that they never, in my opinion, fully met. Like, they've never fully met the expectations that I had for that roster, which are high expectations, I'll give you that. But that's what happens when you have, like, half of the best NACS on your team. Like, you're just going to get that expectation.
Like I mentioned last episode with 100 Thieves, like the one X factor that I was waiting to see is they have all the LAN experience, right? Like they have it at the highest possible level in esports right now. And I thought that would come into play.
And you know what? Can I say something with that off that note? Is they're also one of the teams, because I just thought of this, they're also one of the teams talking like the most shit. And I wonder if that's playing into it, is if they know some of these guys that they're playing up against don't have that big time LAN experience. And if you can get into their head in any competitive advantage sake, why not take it?
Well, they also have Steel and Hiko. It's like two pretty notorious shit talkers also,
That's
you
true.
know, like that.
That's like having
own in a shit talking.
That's like having me on your team and being like, "Oh, Tim's talking shit." Like,
yeah, like it's like, "Oh, Tim got triggered at this guy." I was like, well, it could happen. Like I can see it happening, right?
Right.
And so
I have talked shit
a combination
before
of both.
on LAN.
But I do think the LAN experience came into play because I'm going to jump straight to it. So obviously Gambit and 100 Thieves both won their first round matchup. They both 2-0'd those teams. I think that was very much anticipated to happen. The match we were all waiting for was the 100 Thieves Gambit matchup. And Tim, that's where I do think the LAN experience came into play because first map, Gambit beats them 13-5. Really wallops them.
It was bad.
And you kind of thought, oh, this is where they could get run over, right? Like this next map might be quick too.
Well, that's why mentally I was thinking this is what I thought, right? This is like my expectations is that they need to perform and need to make it through to playoffs. And then after watching the Gambit one, I was thinking, here we go. 100 Thieves
is it, right? Like this, we could see it happening. Gambit's a great team. What are they going to do in that next map? And it's Icebox, always a tough map. I just really think like it really is a unique map. I'm still not in love with it. I don't hate it.
That is not what you said the other night.
More than playing
that is such a nice way to say what you said last night when we played Icebox.
I don't like playing it, but I don't mind watching it. Like I think it's not bad to watch. Check this out, Tim. Gambit started off that map against 100 Thieves in the quarters 9-2. 9-2. This is a team that is now, 4 rounds away from elimination. I say elimination, falling into the lower bracket here.
Is it 9-2? No, they...
Gambit was up 9-2.
7, 8, 9-3. 9-3.
9-3, sorry. 9-3 coming out of that first half. And you kind of just wrote it off at that point. I really thought it was done. And I think this is where the LAN experience came in because Gambit then came out and I think won the first 2 rounds.
They won the first. They won pistol round by defuse. And then 14, they won the second round 14 overall by gunfight.
So now you're looking at 11 rounds at that point. It's 11-3 sitting here. 100 Thieves runs the table. Not many teams, I think, would really have that type of mental capacity in that moment to kind of gather yourselves and pull that back, especially after losing the pistol round. Like it's already bad enough that you got your ass whooped that first half. But then what do you tell yourself before the next half starts?
You have to win the pistol.
Let's just take the pistol. Let's get this round. That'll ensure us a second round or at least against the eco.
It's almost
and then
like
we steamroll, right?
Losing the pistol round was the best thing to happen to them because it didn't allow them to get comfortable too fast. Right? Like, I almost wonder if they won that pistol round, would they have gotten a little like, oh, okay, we're back in it too soon?
It would have felt like, oh, they could have easily got anti-eco the next round.
Exactly.
You know, like you can see that happening. Either way, this put them virtually on the brink of falling down. and they
Hiko had
pulled it
some of
back.
the craziest clutch moments. Like it wasn't
I mean,
even
one
like
of the most epic 3v1s that we've seen, right? Like, it was a very intense situation
yeah,
when he pulled that off. I think in the sense of the play itself, it wasn't like game changing, but it was the moment that it
right.
happened and
Well,
he had to
I mean
come up big.
overall, he went 12 and 14 on
Yeah.
Icebox. Like he only had 12 kills on the map, but I shit you not, of those 12, probably like 4 or 5 were complete match saving or map saving kills.
Yeah.
Like if he didn't get them, it could have gone completely the opposite way. Asuna was dominant on there, going 23-19, ADR of 171,
Yeah. I
headshot
mean,
rate of 24%. Insane performance by them. But again, not, and on Gambit's side, I mean, they still performed well. Like if you're just looking at the box score of it, Gambit played what I mean, but it's just like you said, like, and we've all been it. If you've all played a competitive match, you've all been on that side of, holy shit, we just dominated them that first half. This is GG, boys. Like, let's just finish this out.
you're already like you could mindsets are changing at that point. You're getting a little excited. You can feel the finish line is near, and you see how quick it can flip. And that takes us into their map 3, Tim, where the complete opposite basically happened here, except for one critical component is 100 Thieves started off, 9-3 first half, going into what was it, split for the third
Split,
map?
yeah.
And roles reversed. Gambit's the one making the comeback, roaring back. The only difference was 100 Thieves was able to break them in the middle of their run and kind of slow down not only money, but they won back-to-back rounds. Pulled it a little bit, further ahead, and at that point they were able to get it with a 13-10 win. I mean, damn near came down to the wire again, but Gambit showed a lot, I thought, of mental fortitude at that point to make the comeback that they did. To make it a close game. And so I still believe both of these teams are going through. We are going to see a rematch of Gambit and Crazy Raccoons. And that was a slaughter. I mean, I think it was 13-1.
13-1. It was
13-1,
back to
13-1
back
back to back.
13-1s.
So
Oh.
wasn't a good showing, but hey, this is one of those that could be a creeper match. You better be ready to play again, right? Like Crazy Raccoon, not to say that they're all of a sudden going to come out here and beat
I was
them,
gonna say
but
I don't we gotta respect all the players. I respect all the teams. But I don't think this is a creeper. I think Gambit should, if Gambit loses to Crazy Raccoons, because I think if there's one region that has just shown themselves these last couple of international events, it's Japan. They're just behind. It's just simple as
yeah.
that. Japan is behind when it comes to international play. And Gambit should
And
probably roll that.
you don't see them in this genre of play, so to have them involved is obviously great, but we need to th- they're not far off, but they have a little ways to go. They're definitely like behind when it comes to where some of these other regions are at right now.
Yeah. So Gambit, and again, and I know Wolf brought it up in chat a little bit ago about, and I don't know if you saw this drama on Reddit and Twitter, Shazam talking shit, quote unquote, about 100 Thieves. Did you see this?
No.
He brought up, and I might be butchering it, but he brought up, I think he predicted Gambit beating 100 Thieves. And a lot of people were like, what the hell, not supporting your NA brethrens, blah, 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 blah. And I feel like he's getting a bad rap on this because Gambit is a good team. They are number 1 in EU and were the EU favorites going into it. So I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. And again, like we've even said, 100 Thieves have been inconsistent even on NA's side of even beating the top NA teams. So, to just assume that they were going to roll Gambit, I don't, even here, like looking at just their round differential, Gambit is plus 27, 100 Thieves is a plus 14. Now, obviously, we said you're beating Raccoons 2 maps, 13-1 will help boost that, but nonetheless, they still did it.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, that's not like that wasn't that bold of a prediction. I mean, he wasn't supporting his countrymen, and that was the issue.
And that's the issue, because realistically, if it wasn't for a comeback led by Jesus Christ himself, 100 Thieves would not have won that match. So
Yeah.
it's
No, I
like
mean,
it's not
it
crazy to
took
think it.
a incredible run for them to come back and do that, and so, look, and they got smoked that first map. Like, it was very easily could have been a 2-0, and we wouldn't have been surprised. We would have been like, "Yeah, now 100 Thieves has to beat Crazy Raccoons." Like, okay, it's still the 2 teams that we thought would go through, so, yeah, I mean, Group C is looking like it's gonna hold firm. I really don't see Gambit slipping up here.
And then Group D is the only group with 3 teams, so therefore it has already been set in stone on the ones moving on. So, spoiler alert, Sentinels and G2 both move on as the Korean team F4Q is currently 0-3 and still has a match to go. So, tomorrow, are these both tomorrow? 15?
No, one's on the
1.
16th.
Okay. So, you have G2 Sentinels rematch tomorrow and Sentinels F4Q on the 16th. But again, regardless of those matches, it's G2 and Sentinels are moving on. This is where I'm going to go on a mini rant, believe it or not. This is the first Masters G2 has qualified for. So I don't know where, and I see this on Twitter from both, non-talking heads and talking heads. Like I saw Jake Lucky bring it up, saying that this is his favorite rivalry, Sentinels and G2. And I'm looking at myself like, do I not know what a rivalry is?
It's a Twitter rivalry.
It's a Twitter rivalry, right? Between Twitter accounts, awesome banter. But to me, to say that this is a rivalry is offensive to Sentinels. Sentinels are defending master champions. G2 didn't even qualify for the last one. Like,
yeah, this is purely like online shit talking is where that's only coming from, because the only rivalries any teams have is within your own region at this point in time, right? Like, you can't even really say Sentinels Fnatic is now some deep rivalry because Fnatic didn't freaking make it to this event.
right.
Liquid didn't to this event. So there's like really no international rivalry
Other than just
at this point.
NAEU, right? But
That's a right, like as a whole,
right.
yes, right.
And that
But
doesn't
when
even
we-
feel as big right now, I would say.
I feel like that is the biggest rivalry for me because I'm not rooting for one particular team. I'm just rooting for my region right now. Like,
I
I'm
think
really
wait till
not.
playoffs and I'll get that way. But even like with Iceland, I remember any NAEU match, I was like glued. Like, I am watching this.
Oh yeah. No, for sure. That was the first, right?
Yeah, I know.
Like, it's always going to be hard to kind of like, I don't know,
Capture that moment. But like, even
try
with it,
meth and
like
see if it
regardless
holds
of the
true,
matches
but-
that come out here, right? So Sentinels are the only one to still play 2 matches. They play, like we said, tomorrow and
But we did see that head-to-head against
Thursday.
G2 happen already, and that was I thought a pretty good matchup overall. Like, Sentinels, gave it to G2 ultimately, but we had they took a map off of them, and Sentinels didn't drop a map last time when they were in Iceland. So that does, you know, it shows something, right? Like, it's not meaningless that even though
I
they
mean,
lost,
I
they
feel like
did
it's
take a map off of
I
them.
feel like it's kind of Fast and Furious #1 when he almost beats Vin Diesel in a match, and he's like, "I almost had you," and it's like everyone's just like, "Cool, bro." Like, cool story. Like, you almost had me. You took 1 map off of him. What a rivalry. What a rivalry, G2.
Winning is winning, right?
And they
That's the-
lost.
Yeah.
So that's I don't buy into the rivalry just yet. Even if G2 beats them in this next match, it's like, okay, well, you've both already qualified. I just think save it for the playoffs and we'll see. I don't, we'll see.
The best part of the rivalry so far,
Is
Tim,
the
was
Twitter.
is Carlos flying a plane over Berlin with a banner on the back of it saying "fuck Sentinels," right before they even had their match, and it was funny because Shazam tweeted out, "Bro, this is a group stage match. Like, we're not even in elimination.
That's what
like,
I'm
this is the
saying. That's like, I don't
first game,
even give the
so-
results for tomorrow. Say G2 beats Sentinels, and I'm sure then Twitter's gonna blow up, and then Carlos is gonna talk, and then they're gonna be like, "Bro, this is a group stage match for a group that we've already qualified to go to the
I
playoffs
mean,
for.
it would mean something for G2 to beat Sentinels. Like, I think if Sentinels actually dropped a game, it doesn't mean anything in the like, does that mean Sentinels is gonna lose? No, but is it meaningful? Like, I think so. Like, I think it would mean something if Sentinels were to actually drop a series in the event because they didn't drop one last time. That would show that the gap is getting slightly closer, that at least it's like they're both going to be playing to win, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't think Sentinels is going to go in there and be like, "Ugh, we already made it through." Like they want to come out of this group as the number 1 seed, undefeated, and have the easiest possible matchup that they could have going into the next round, right? Because
Yeah.
that could be the difference between playing, you know, crew, or you could be playing Envy. It's like quite a big difference on who you could be playing based on, reseeding and all that. So I still think there's something on the line, although I agree that at the end of the day, it's another group stage match. And what's going to matter is what's going to happen over the next week, not what's happening tomorrow.
Right. Like I said, the hype that, and I get it, it's all Twitter hype. I get that. But the hype that people were bringing with G2 was like, bro, this is your guys' first time qualifying. Let's back up here. Like,
yeah, it's a completely new roster. So like,
you guys are acting like you're
got
G2.
a lot to prove right now.
Yeah, you guys are acting like you're G2 from a year ago. Like, let's calm down, okay? You're not even number 1 in EU, right? You're top 5 going. You're 5th right now in EU, according to VLR.gg. So it's like let's calm our tits and let's take a step back and realize what we're talking shit about here.
Yeah, I mean, although I would encourage them to continue the banter because I love it.
Oh, it's funny.
I really do. Like Carlos is the best.
It's especially funny when you're on the NA side winning, and it's like
being a Cowboys fan and a Dallas Mavericks fan. I'm used to like outlandish, outspoken owners. Right, between Mark Cuban and Jerry Jones, I have enough of that in my life. I love the way Carlos's approach is the same way with G2. Is he's out there. He's basically a player himself when it comes to how he interacts on social media. He doesn't talk like an owner. He's just different and built different that way. And so I I urge it. Like keep doing you, dude, because it does make it fun, right? Like it adds that extra element to it that you wouldn't have otherwise if he wasn't so blatantly out there, before their matches and throughout the weeks and months leading up to this.
Yeah. I encourage the little brother syndrome that he has. It's hilarious. Hilarious. So there's that. By the time we do the next show, we'll definitely know who's going into the playoffs. The playoffs are set to start the 17th is the first match. So some of these guys are going to be qualifying and then going right into it on Friday. So
yeah, by the time we do our next show, this will be
grand
done,
finals
right?
on the 19th. Yep, so that's
Yeah.
Sunday. Yeah, so we'll definitely know. That being said, we'll probably be doing a show either Sunday night or Tuesday night of next week. So just keep an eye on that as I say that out loud, because the Lions are playing Monday night, and I get like one of those every year. So
I wouldn't even ask you to do it on that night.
we are.
Wouldn't even ask. I'll be watching with you, Tim.
There we go. You can. It's an experience.
Are y'all playing Green Bay?
Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers throwing the season for him. I appreciate it.
My wife just texted me that our water heater went out. Don't own a house, children.
It really does
Okay.
suck. It
It's
really.
just one thing after.
Can we?
Water heater's out. We have to replace it. I was like, oh, great.
We did that a couple years ago. It sucks. Not as bad as your AC going out though, that I had a couple months ago.
I just had that a couple years ago.
Yeah, you had that too. We had the roof redone recently, which that was a pain in the ass to try to do. And then today they were like, "Hey, a little hail damage on the gutters. Let's replace them." Fine. What it's do we need to? Well, the insurance covers it, so let's just do it. That's what the roofer said, right? Guy comes by last week, says, "Hey, what do you want for the gutters?" I said, "The same exact gutters that we have, same colors, just replace them." Okay, sure, no problem. Comes by today, replaces the gutters, not the same color.
That's unfortunate.
Like a shade different. If you came over to my house, you would look at them and say, "Okay, yeah, they look good. Like, what are you talking about?" But they are a shade different, and it's just like
triggering a little
dude.
bit.
Like,
do you have to pay anything for your roof replacement?
No.
Yeah.
And the guy said
we're about to do ours also.
Yeah, and the guy, our roofer is nice about it. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, he'll make it right," but it's just kind of like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Owning a house sucks. It really
Well, we're
does.
about to get a tankless water heater now, so
Oh, nice. So there's that little boomer talk for you. Let's get into speaking of boomer, the boomer of FPSs. Let's get into some CS real quick because the ESL Pro League Season 14 ended up wrapping up with Navi defeating Vitality in the finals, 3-2 in a best of 5. It went the best of 5. Incredible matchup there. Anything before the finals that you wanted to highlight?
yes. Yes, and more yes. I don't know if you saw the Liquid Heroic matchup. So I'm going to tell you, Tim, I was glued to the playoffs for this. I caught myself watching not a lot more Counter Strike than Valorant, but that's where my audio was on for, right? And so if I had them both on, I'm listening to the CS matches. That Heroic Liquid matchup, probably one of the most epic best of 3 series I've seen, obviously highlighted by Refresh's 1v5 on map 3 at 15-14 to take it to overtime. And
Incredible.
like just one of the most incredible. It's so poorly played by Liquid, I might add. They had
Bro,
all the people in the right place, but they were
let me
all
tell you
afraid to
what.
be the one to die.
If there's a 1v5 and the one ends up winning that, it's 1,000% always poorly played by the other
I mean,
team.
yeah, it was
There
just
is
they were
there is
all
no
hiding and holding their
1v5.
corners.
Yeah.
He literally walked around picking off people one by one. He
Like
isolated
just like
everybody
Batman
in
walking
one
into a
strong side.
warehouse, just taking out
Absolutely
people.
incredible. And look, every match in that game was very good. Overpass and Nuke were both really good matchups. That Inferno one will go down as, a game to remember because you just don't see 1v5s in a 15-14 in a map 3, in an elimination matchup. It was just such a fantastic play. I kind of felt that way about the Navi Heroic matchup, which was a semifinals matchup. Also, another really just legendary matchup. I mean, Navi and these guys, every map went to 16-13, 16-14. Like you couldn't have asked for closer games, and Nuke was kind of the same way, ended on, a really clean ending to take it, I guess you could say, because it was looking like it was in Heroic's favor, and Navi had to make a 3 map run at the end or 3 round run at the end to come back and take it. So it was thrilling, for Navi. This event in general really kind of caps off an awesome season for them so far. Obviously, taking the Intel Grand Slam is the icing on the cake. But Tim, I heard you say we're entering the Navi era. Is it an era without a major under your belt? Like, can you put them in era status without a major? Because then would you say we had the Liquid era at any point when they won the Grand Slam?
Right. Well, I'll say one thing first about Heroic. They had to play their nuts off this event because they lost all their sponsors. So
Yeah.
there's
Lost
that.
their sponsors, lost their coach, name being dragged through the mud,
Yeah.
players being accused of knowing that the coach was cheating, which Tim and I have already reported.
Like
Every player
breaking
knew
news,
that their
guys.
coach was cheating. So, like they had a really tough run, and they made it look really good along the way. Like they are a real threat. They're
Yeah.
not
And
a
you feel bad
pushover
for
team at
Cadian
all.
too, because he's had that shirtless walk video and stuff like that. And then for him to finally have a resurgence, the coach cheating or not, I think we've learned that it's almost like the steroid era in baseball. Enough of these teams have cheated in some way or fashion. I almost don't even judge it that harshly if the team is still performing like they are now, right?
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
they're still performing, it would be one thing if it just completely dropped off and they were in the top 30, but no, they're still top ranked. So I don't judge it as harsh. But yeah, all their sponsors gone. So we'll see. Winning helps get your sponsors back, but we'll see what happens with Heroic.
I think the surprise of the event is Vitality, right? Like I don't think anybody really predicted them to not only make it to the finals. Like I really thought they were going to lose round 2 to Gambit. I didn't see them being able to pull that off. I thought they had a good chance against OG, but OG had been playing really, really well. So that wasn't like a gimme match for either side. And then to go into the finals against Navi, who had everything to lose, and you push that to 5. Like, they got to be feeling pretty good coming out of this. Obviously, the newer additions in Mistua and Kyojin, like both of them were. Kyojin was widely criticized, I feel like, by a lot of the community, more so for being an unknown. And both of these guys, stepped up and played pretty well throughout this event. And so I feel like, they're going to come out with their heads held high, although they didn't win this event. They really made a push and they looked like they were having fun. And most importantly, Zaiwu did look like one of the best players in the world again. Like, he truly played like one of the top 2 players in the world behind Simple.
If Zaiwu needs any words of encouragement from us, which who doesn't, I would tell him is, listen, Zaiwu, buddy, you will have your time. You will have your time at some point, maybe not next year, but at some point, you're going to get your moment where you make a run. And don't worry about it, because Simple's been in this exact position as you, right? Na'Vi was the one who always got second place, right? They were always semifinal darlings and then bust, right? We constantly said that about Na'Vi. Now, this has been the year of Simple, as I've said multiple times, and I still stand by it. This is the year of Simple. They've definitely taken advantage of Astralis falling off the map, and just Liquid not performing as they used to. Na'Vi is taking advantage of other teams performing poorly.
Navi had to ramp it up. I think the best thing that happened to Navi is their region became really strong this year, right? With the additions of Gambit, we have
VP.
Virtus Pro, and then who is it? Not Sprout. I'm drawing a Spirit, maybe one of
Spirit?
the teams. I think it's Spirit. Like,
Yeah.
that region became more of a juggernaut, and I think it pushed them to have to get better. And we've seen it, fairly consistently now. Again, taking this Grand Slam did take quite a while because the first one happened, at the beginning of last year, basically. But the last 3 out of 4 events that qualified for it, Navi came out on top. So, this is looking to be the year of Simple. You would hope his chances of winning a major are not going anywhere, but this looks to be the best chance that he's had, right? You don't have Astralis standing in your way, as you mentioned. There's not a clear-cut team. There's a handful of teams that can beat you, right? I don't think they're out of the woods in terms of, like, there's no one there if Astralis
Right.
is not there, but
They're
you
not
are
at
now
Astralis
considered
level,
on the
but
level
right.
of everybody else.
Yeah,
So
they're not what Astralis was a couple years ago, where it was just like every round, every event, just put your money on Astralis. Like, it doesn't matter.
No.
Put your money on Astralis, and you will end the year with more money than what you had.
But you would feel pretty comfortable on them
Yeah.
making the
Yeah, like I
runs
said,
that
I
they're
just think
making.
it's the year of Simple, right? It's just, this is his year to take advantage of it. Nothing wrong with it. That being said, back to your first question though, is it okay to call it the Navi era? Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think so. And it's not to take anything away from Navi, like we've just said. They've won the Intel Grand Slam, right? So they've won the $1 million bonus for that, which, by the way, is not the same criteria as it was when Liquid won it. It's a little different now. I think they tried to make it a little harder, but clearly that didn't work out. So Navi ended up winning that. But that being said, they don't have a major underneath their belt. And although some of these events have been major quality, like ESL Pro League, like, you look at these teams and this might be what the major looks like, right? But it's, as we've seen, anything can happen in the major, right? Like, it's just the stakes that are there when it's in LAN, in person, with the crowd, it's just completely different. And even that being said, maybe I'll give them a COVID pass and say, hey, if you win this one major coming up, we can call this the Navi era. But really,
I think you just got to get one. Really, I do believe that.
And
Like,
I'll
you
give a
just gotta-
COVID pass on that one. Typically, I would say 2 majors. I'll call it an era, right? Like, Kansas City won 1 Super Bowl. It's not a Kansas City era, right?
Okay, but what about Ovechkin being the player that he is, doesn't winning that one championship kind of solidify him as like, okay, he's like one of the best to ever do
Of
this. And
course, and
Simple
I would
is
say that
going
is
to be one of the
simple,
best
but I
to
would
ever do
never
this.
say this is like Navi's era. I would never say like, oh, that was Capital's era. They just dominated, right? I wouldn't say that with Navi. I would say this is their year, right? You had a year that you were playing really well.
Really, the only eras that I think we have are Fnatic, Luminosity, SK, whatever you want to
Right,
say,
yeah, the
right? And then
Brazilian
the
era.
yeah, and then Nip as well.
Yeah.
So there's like 4 true eras, and you have good runs. Liquid had an amazing run when they won their Grand Slam. It was one of the best we've seen, but
Mhm.
that's what it was. It was just a good run. The same thing for Navi right now. Getting the major though, at least getting one
It will
is
solidify it. Like
crucial
I
to
said, I
like
might give a COVID pass and say, you know what, we'll call it an era. You played well, Intel Grand Slam, capped it off with a major. Maybe. Maybe. But
but like not that long ago, Gambit was number one for a while, and then like not even prior to that, it was Heroic for a long time was number
big,
one. So
big was
yeah,
for a little
like it's
bit.
not like Navi has been number one for like the last year during
No.
COVID. Like they've done
That's
really well in these big events.
and that's not to
But
take anything away from Navi's success, but yeah, they just haven't been. Again, I feel like they're taking advantages of moments, and that's the difference between Navi now of Navi of late. Navi of late used to never take advantage of situations, and they
they
would,
would have lost this best of 5-3-2.
and then we would be sitting here as like Navi, how you finally have like an easy-ish road to the grand finals, and you lose in the grand like this is where you know they get to play Ents. They skip the round of 12. It's like, come on. That would have been old Navi. This Navi is finally, capitalizing on when they should capitalize on things. I think that's the difference. Era, let's pump the brakes on that, right? Not saying they're not good enough for one, but let's just pump the brakes on it and see where it goes.
And done a good job of swapping out some of the play. Like Flamey, who I know was a hard switch for them, but bringing in Bit has been pretty electric, right? Like Bit's looked really good on this roster. Perfecto has become like their clutch master. He's almost like their Zipniks on that team. They've defined the roles really nicely around Simple, and Electronic is being electronic. He's being one of the best players in the world himself. So they've done a good job of moving this roster around. And again, I was iffy on a lot of these moves, and they've really panned out well for them. So
Have you seen the fun fact of Bit?
no,
He is
oh,
18
the
years
500,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
18 years old and has already surpassed 500,000 in winnings. So let
Picked a
alone
good time to join Navi.
salary and anything like that. Yeah. So
And he's been a huge contribution, deserving because they have started winning with his addition to the roster, not because of him, but he's been such a great piece and fit into his role so well. It's allowing Simple and Electronic to also do what they do.
so coming up here then, next big event for Counter-Strike, you have the Blast Premier Fall Showdown. That you'll actually breaking news there. Stanislaw is out. He is not coming back as he said he would, but he's still out. And then soon enough, Anuj, October 23rd through November 7th is the major in Stockholm, which last I read is still happening. I think I just read an article the other day that they might be making.
Yeah, so there might even be fans at the event.
Yeah.
So everything just seems so wait and see right now with that, and hoping it goes off as planned. But yeah, we got Blast Pro coming up, and that'll be like the last real big event kind of leading into the major. And I think there's a lot riding on some of these teams to kind of show what you got at this point, right? Like Nip. Device has been relatively disappointing on that roster. I say disappointing. He hasn't looked like the Device of old, and
Right.
they showed
And
that
he's even
again
said it.
with
Like
this
I saw him
match.
go on a little Twitter rant the other day saying like it's been rough.
Yeah, like it's been a transition, right?
Some rumors, Anuj, are saying that him and his girlfriend broke up, which is why he has not been performing nearly as well. So
And like, isn't that one of the biggest reasons why he moved over there? That would be interesting.
I would
And then the
also
other half
assume
of Device, obviously, is you have Astralis, and a lot of these guys. This is going to be a good ramp up event for them going into the major, and I think need to show well there. You don't want to go into that major kind of slumping a little bit. So
I would also assume if your girlfriend and you break up, you'd be doing better. Like, don't get it twisted.
dude, they've been together forever.
If
That
you
would
and
be
I,
rough.
if you and I got a divorce, we would be pro gamers by next week. If you gave me that free time back,
We've been in the game a long time, right? We know he's like young buck, been in love for the last couple of years. If that happened, that would suck. Like that would suck.
so thoughts and prayers for device. So there's that for you. All right, so there's some ESL Pro League Season 14 in the books. So congratulations to everyone over there for a successful year. Maybe next year we'll get some land action back. Though, I don't mind the season being online or whatever, so figure it out. I'll let them worry about it. All right, let's get into some e-news. CSGO teases, the CSGO Twitter account that is, they tease out either an official surf map coming up or a ban wave. So they tweeted out just a wave emoji and then deleted it. So put the CSGO world in a tizzy trying to figure out what that meant.
Yeah, I mean, kind of hoping for a ban wave, I guess. I don't know. I don't really care
you asked me the other day. You're like, does any of, like, everyone's getting so excited over it, and it's like, really, guys? Like, we've been asking for literally anything else. And like, if they give us a surf map, I'm gonna be like, yeah, there's like thousands of them on a community server that's probably way better than yours. Like
it's already there.
I don't need my dev team focusing on surf maps. I need them focusing on what makes the game fun to actually play the game. Let the community worry about the fun maps. You worry about the competitive side. That's my 2 cents. In Valorant, Bread has released their Valorant roster, allowing them to pursue newer, or Bren, not Bread. Bren. I was like, who the fuck is Bread? Typo. Bren, which was the Southeast Asian team that had visa issues and weren't able to attend. They released their rosters, allowing their players to pursue new opportunities.
Yep.
So wasting.
That sucks.
I know, right? Like, as an org, you're like, damn, we kind of wanted to get a little pub on the event. Sources are saying that Nivera will join Team Liquid.
That's big. That's Scream's brother, so it'd be cool to see the brothers play together. I think what really sucks here is Nivera is a good CSGO talent and like young. Why the hell is he not on a CSGO roster? I absolutely don't understand that. He was playing 6-man for Vitality. He was playing really well. I really thought he would eventually fill into the starting roster there at some point. That didn't happen, obviously, and now he's making the switch to Valorant. Like that, I don't know. That just blows. He should be on a tier 1 CS roster and competing. So, if that happens, that's another big loss.
T1 looking at doing a huge roster overhaul. Rumor is Brax, Dawn, and Ska we're not seeing practicing. Skadoodle, that is, for those who might not be on a personal relationship with him, as we are seen practicing with the team. They are planning on signing the Exet. How do you say his name?
Tweefo?
Tweefo? That's how you say it? Works for me. Either way, I don't give a shit who they sign. The fact that Brax is out again, who could have seen that one coming? Everyone. And Skadoodle being out, also kind of predictable.
It's weird because Automatic's on that team, and I thought they were like building like some form of chemistry with people that he's played with before.
There is no one in the world building chemistry with Skadoodle and Brax. Not happening.
Who's more unlucky in their career so far, Automatic or Mixwell?
Automatic has to be the NA version of Mixwell. Like, I would almost say Mixwell because he went over to EU and still had the same issues. Like,
Mixwell's experienced it on both sides.
And Automatic won a major, so it can't be that unlucky.
That's true.
He did win a major. Mixwell has been the neighborhood bicycle, as it seems, with some of these orgs. But no, so T1, the team that never was, so much excitement, signed the first pro ever in Valorant, and just has never looked good. Maybe for like a hot minute in Nerd Street events, but that's it. So we'll see. I just wonder how long they stick with NA roster. Like T1 is a Korean. I see T1 and I think Korean org. So
I mean, if they're not going to be performing well here, it might be easier to go over there and
that's what I'm saying. Like get your
pick up Bren and go.
Get your pick of any Overwatch League member that's gonna leave after the season. Rumors is that people saw Rush being trialed with TSM. Rush, of course, former CS pro, former Complexity, Cloud9 major winner, announced his retirement. Said, "Oh yeah, I might think about Valorant." Well, he's already seen practicing, so.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a great pickup, but there's like a lot of interesting rumors going on right now, and maybe that's the one that you jump to next, Tim, versus.
Yeah, so it seems like TSM is currently working out a lot of people because this is strictly rumor, but Nifty is in talks with TSM. Nifty, of course, former Counter-Strike pro with Renegades and Team Envy, creating a super team with Nifty, Wardell, JDM, Mr. Leanback himself, Hazed, and Sub Rosa. On paper, I love this roster. My brain is telling me, got some old guys on that team. Some old, quote unquote, I wouldn't say this about them, but I've heard some people say it, washed up Counter-Strike players. But my heart is telling me, yes, please.
I mean, yeah, it'd be like, might as well bring Cutler back and start getting CLG back together if we're gonna do this. So, I don't know. If that was the roster, it would be cool to see some of these guys together, but I have my doubts that becomes some sort of super team all of a sudden. Like,
it's a super team of names.
Aren't even freaking playing Valorant competitively right now, so
it's a super team of names. I'll give them
super
that.
Team of names, yeah, like big names coming into the scene. I don't think
Sub Rosa
TSM needs some work. I do agree with that though.
But I don't think Sub Rosa, after Nifty's stint on Team Envy, anyone would associate them with a quote unquote super team.
I still think they gave up on like Drone too easily, honestly.
I think TSM got caught in the weird scheduling with VCT and just not performing when they were should have, and then they just had to make some roster moves, made one too soon, and then they never got into a rhythm, so then they made another roster move too soon, and now you find them here where they feel like, you know what we need to do is create a super team. So I just not gonna work out. But you know who they could also sign? Which, hey, no knock on him if they do, but Sinatra's suspension is officially over. So he has served his 6-month time from not cooperating with law enforcement of his sexual assault accusations, but still not found guilty on that. I forget where that left off at, if there was even pursuing it anymore or not.
I have no idea.
I forget if we ever even followed up with it. But from an esports perspective, he's not guilty enough to play. He served his 6-month suspension for not cooperating with investigation, so he is eligible to sign for a team. I truly think if he wants to, we would see him play for another org. I mean, he's still Sinatra. He's gonna play. Yeah, he's going
to get on a roster. I don't know. It's gonna be a PR nightmare initially for whoever takes him, but he's gonna get on a roster.
Yeah.
And he was one of the best when he was playing, and there's enough people that are defending him anyway that it's going to be a 50-50, right? You're going to have the people that will assume he's guilty. I don't really know where I stand because I don't know enough about what's going on in his particular case. Like, the news we heard wasn't good, obviously, that we reported when it all came out. But beyond that, I don't know. So he's going to get on a roster, though. There's like no doubt in my mind.
Right.
It's just going to be who's going to take that leap of faith and win.
Yeah. Will it be a top org? Will it be an org coming up? Who knows? But I really do think we see, if he wants to put himself back into that type of spotlight, I think we see it. I think we see it happen.
Worst case scenario, he moves to Southeast Asia, makes a dominant team, and plays that
makes a super team over there. In FPS news, Halo Infinite's next preview is scheduled for September 24th, so coming up here in 10 days. And I believe this is open. I think I saw that this is for everyone. So if you weren't in the last tech preview, like, as they said, not my words, Anuj, Bungie's
You
word.
still
Or
have to go on Halo Insider and register.
you'll have to register for it, but I think
If
they
you
said
have not,
anyone will get in.
yeah.
But they did say 343 Studio said last time, key influencers last time. So you don't have to be a key influencer like us to get in. Anyone can get in this time. In FGC news, Nintendo informed Low Tide City that they are unable to run Project Plus, which is Project M for those who are wondering, which is just a hacked version of Brawl. For those who don't know, essentially this is just another Nintendo telling an event. They did this with Riptide, the one that just finished up.
Yeah.
Nintendo just doesn't like people running third-party Nintendo products, and this is basically a hacked, chopped up, butchered product of Smash that the community has made to kind of make it to their standards for Brawl and all that. And Nintendo said, nah, none under our watch. If you want to use any of our games, you're not going to play these. So,
Once again, Nintendo being Nintendo.
Nintendo being Nintendo. Riptide, though, did finish up. We saw MK Leo get revenge over Summit as he beats Tweak to win the Smash Ultimate Major in Riptide. In other news, FaZe Clan announces their collab with DC Comics, I believe, for you comic junkies out there, which I am one of you. Big fun fact about me that people might not know, but also might not be surprised. Huge comic book guy. I do collect. But I believe their comic book crossover comes out next week, I think. I'll have to double check. So check your local comic book shops. But, you know, it's cool. Liquid does Marvel. Liquid's partnered with Marvel, but they never had like a comic book crossover. It's just been merch.
Jerseys and stuff.
Yeah, this is like merch, comic book crossover, so it's pretty badass. The PlayStation event did end up happening over the week. You know, if you're into it, you're into it.
It's like, you know, not my cup of tea, right? So if you were excited, great.
I'm in a gaming slump again, where it's just no game really excites me. So like even watching this stuff, I'm like,
I got like a week before I care about my next game. Really, like I'm just kind of playing whatever I want to play right now. But you know, a week from now we have what's it called coming out? Wait,
what comes out in a week?
When did that shit get delayed to?
New World, I thought comes out in October.
Yeah, it did get pushed to October. That's right.
Yeah, or maybe not. So this says September 28th. Google says September 28th. I don't know if that's correct. I thought it was October, but maybe it is September 28th because you just said a week. So we'll see. We will see. We'll keep you updated. But either way, that'd be cool. But you know, Spider-Man 2, stuff like that, whatever. The big news that Sony should have talked about, but that was leaked through Nvidia, is the fact that, and this has been rumored, there are a ton of PlayStation exclusives coming over to the PC side. I'm talking God of War, Gran Turismo, what's that, Ghost of something, right? They have big games, Ratchet and Clank, coming over to the PC side of things. So
that's like the big news.
Like, why would you not? Yeah, now you lost the thunder.
I guess they want to promote the console, right? The whole point is to promote the console.
But it's, you know, come on, Sony. Like, know your audience here. You could find new audience. There hasn't been an update. Last bit of news here for you. One other last bit. Epic versus Apple case. So we haven't talked about this in a long time, but if you recall, Epic sued Apple over their store policy. Basically with Fortnite, Apple like double charges people. Like Apple has a fee for shopping in the Apple store. So it's like, not only are you paying Epic's fees, but then Apple fees, and Epic was like, that's messed up, right? So they sued Apple over it, blah, blah, blah. So we have a decision. The court rules Apple Store policies do need to change. So the court was like, yo, Apple, your policy sucks. You need to change it.
But then you need to do something.
Right. Then the court also, in fact, though, ruled, but however, Epic, you guys were also kind of douchebags in your situation, and you also broke those shitty rules nonetheless. So you need to pay Apple $12 million in damages. So it's like $12 million to Epic is literally like piss money.
1 hour.
That is nothing. So I don't know. I guess. And for Apple to change their store rules and policies, like they'll probably change it to something that's still bullshit in their favor because that's how it works. So there, all this drama, all this hype that all these other outlets created around this, and it really ended up just being two corporates winning. So,
like they both got something out of it. So I don't know what the long-term effect of that.
yeah, like I don't like
Really
everyone
is.
thought Epic was just going to change the landscape. Maybe if someone wants to overhype it, they can explain it to me. But to me, this just seems like it kind of went, Apple's going to change some wording. Epic will pay him $12 million, which is nothing to them. And then that's it. So,
Yeah.
that's
where we are.
That's it. And last bit of e-news here for you. Not esports related, but we did lose someone. Norm Macdonald, Anuj, passed away earlier today at the age of 61.
Saw that. That really was sad to hear. I didn't even know he was dealing with cancer.
He kept it
honestly, and
secret, apparently.
that's super, super unfortunate and a legend. The dude's a legend. That's all you can say.
I don't know how many of our listeners know who Norm Macdonald is, but you need to look him up. He is a
Saturday Night Live,
Yeah.
like
Saturday Night Live. I've, funny enough, just for my age group, have known him through like Adam Sandler movies. That's kind of how
I think that's for our age group generally would, right? Like all of those movies were just cult classics now.
Right. So we kind of we saw him and then kind of went back and watched his old stuff. Comedian, hilarious delivery. But yeah, ended up passing to it today from cancer. So stay hard, Norm. Absolute legend in the comedic scene.
100%.
61 too. Just never know. Never know when it's going to end. Just like this show. Because it is now over. It's done. It's in the books. Episode 356 is over. Thank you so much for listening. Always appreciate it. We will be back next Sunday and maybe Tuesday. We'll have to look at our schedules to figure that out, but I can promise you it's not Monday because the Detroit Lions play Monday Night Football. And Daddy is going to watch uninterrupted. My kids will not, I will ship them out that day. So there's that. Follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. Join our Discord. Support us on Patreon if you choose to. Love you either way, so don't feel like you have to. But we would love you more if you did. But we just won't love you less if you don't. But that's it. So until next week, we will recap VCT Berlin and talk whatever else happens in the world of esports. Till then, for Anuj, I'm Tim. Love you. Goodbye. All right. Perfect. Perfect. Oh. Yeah, fucking the one dude on Breezy, whatever his name is, on EG. He's out too. EG is just fucked. Like EG is fucked.
Wait, he's out also, Breeze?
Mm-hmm.
When did they announce that?
While we were doing the show. Welcome. Not he's out for Blast. So, but still, like, that's not good. Like, I feel like EG is not long for this world of CS, you know?
You what? I'm sorry?
I feel like EG is not longed for this world of CS. Like, we're going to be seeing a EG exit within the next 6 months.
The way it's going, or they'll move to EU.
Yeah, they do have a Valorant team. Maybe they just focus efforts on Valorant.
Which that hasn't been great for them either.
No, that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's just, hey, why are we splitting our efforts? Just put all in one resource. So we'll have to see. All right, anyone in chat, I'm going to kill the show so I can get to editing it.
Love you guys. Appreciate y'all tuning